It's time to put the good in your morning. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Today, why Carthage residents could soon have more options to take shelter during severe weather.
Luckily, nothing severe for today, but the rain is coming down and it'll stick with us. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And we get a preview of upcoming Connect to Culture events for the month of June. KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 starts now. Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. New this morning, a Fairland, Oklahoma woman is dead following a crash in Ottawa County. Authorities with the Oklahoma State Highway Patrol say it happened just before 6 yesterday evening on State Highway 125. They say a vehicle driven by 42-year-old Karen Roach crossed the center line and collided with 39-year-old Alicia Smalley. Roach was pronounced dead at the hospital. Roach's 2 juvenile passengers and Smalley, along with her 2 juvenile passengers, suffered injuries, but were last reported to be in fair condition. A Baxter Springs police officer who is also a firefighter receives recognition for a dangerous rescue. Emergency officials dispatched to a structure fire in Lowell just after midnight yesterday morning. Seth Brown was the first on the scene. He entered the burning house and rescued the person inside. He then performed CPR for 4 minutes. The person rescued from the house remains in the hospital. An accused killer is now in custody after a week-long manhunt in South Carolina. Tyler Terry is the suspect in 2 murders in St. Louis County, Missouri, and 2 in South Carolina. He was surrounded in an area with high weeds in Chester County and safely taken into custody without any gunfire or anyone getting hurt. St. Louis prosecuting attorney filed more than a dozen charges against Terry yesterday, including 2 counts of first-degree murder. His girlfriend, Adrienne Simpson, faces the same 14 charges. She was arrested last Monday. The couple is also accused of killing her husband. Vandals leave around $500,000 in damages at the Monette, Missouri football field. Someone painted the field with bright orange spray paint. Crews tried to clean it up and they used different methods, including old-fashioned elbow grease, but no luck, and officials say the field will have to be replaced.
So we worked extremely hard, tried multiple cleaning solutions, brushes, hands and knees. We even used our own hands.
The cost of a new field is around $500,000. School officials say they filed a claim with their insurance company, which has been approved. They're now in the process of getting it replaced. Carthage, Missouri residents could soon have a few more options to seek shelter in case of a tornado. The school district is considering opening 3 of the school's storm shelters up to the public during tornado warnings. Those shelters would be at Pleasant Valley Elementary School and the Carthage Intermediate Center.
I think the public will feel good about having access to these shelters. Again, they're not designed specifically for the community, they're for schools, but we think we can still handle it. We can still get people into the buildings as safely as possible.
If the plan is approved, 3 people would be needed to open and manage each shelter. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly and a bipartisan group of lawmakers come together to sign legislation fully funding education for the 3rd consecutive year. The legislation also guarantees schools will be fully funded through the fiscal year 2023. During the signing ceremony, Governor Kelly said that ensuring kids have access to a quality education is good for Kansas students and for the state's economy. In addition to fully funding education in Kansas, the legislation requires an annual report card for children in foster care, authorizes limited remote learning, and provides the criteria for identification of students eligible to receive at-risk programs and services. Cherokee Nation will give each of its citizens $2,000 in COVID-19 relief money. The money will come in 2 $1,000 payments over 2 years. The other recovery funds will go towards Cherokee-owned businesses, tribal health care services, and education support. The money is part of a $1.8 billion COVID-19 recovery fund through President Biden's American Rescue Plan Act. And the Joplin Humane Society is over capacity. The shelter is caring for around 434 pets. Its capacity is 350 to 400. In response, the Humane Society is lowering the adoption fee for big dogs to only $10. They're also stepping up outreach efforts on social media in order to find homes for hundreds of pets.
Such a stressful environment for them to be in. They don't thrive well here. So if we can get them out as soon as we get them in, we have a higher success rate of keeping them healthy until they can find their forever homes.
If you want to help but can't adopt a pet, you can always donate cash, food, or bedding items to the Humane Society. The St. Louis area family is safe but shaken up after a car crashes into their home Saturday night. Police say the driver lost control, flipped over a fence, and crashed front end first through the roof. The front of the vehicle ended up in the first floor master bathroom. Unfortunately, neither the homeowners who were sleeping nor the two people in the car were hurt. No word yet on what caused the driver to lose control. Ugh.
Yeah, I read that this morning. Amazing. I would guess it had to be off an embankment because it said, you know, when you see that where the road is right there.
They went into the second floor bathroom?
Because I think it was first floor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's something else right there. All right, Tanya, live look over 7th and Range Line. We've got a wet intersection on our hands. 68 degrees. Everybody slow down, please. Give yourself just a couple extra minutes. Never know right when that rain hits right there. Get those oil on the road and those slick spots. Skywatch storm tracker with the precip that moves in from the southwest up to the northeast right there has made its way now on the north side of 44. Earlier this morning, it was kind of riding right along and down to the south, especially through Monette, Mount Vernon, and then made its way up to Greenfield. Now we're seeing Cherokee County, Jasper County making its way into Barton as well. Lost the very heavy rain that we had earlier and haven't had any lightning strikes. We do still have a flood warning on our hands, though. That's for the Osage River. We lifted the flood warnings for the Little Osage and the Neosho Rivers, so that's at least a positive part of going in through Tuesday. 170 on the board. That is out in Chanute. A whole bunch of mid to high 60s. A little bit cooler here where we've consistently had the rain all morning long. We're at 63 in Monette and 65 right now in Cassville. We are still going to have mid to high 70s. No worries about temperature. Just the scattered rainfall that will continue throughout the course of our Tuesday. Not looking at anything severe. And every now and then you're going to run into some dry spots. Just keeps on coming in from the south. And then by the time we get to Tuesday night, we'll turn our attention out to the west because we see a band of thunderstorms develop in central Kansas, bringing us some heavier rain right there just after the sun begins to go down and sweeping from west to east before it finally breaks up just on the east side of us. That thing is also going to be able to pack some lightning and wind into it as well. Back to the scattered rain there for the rest of Wednesday, but then additional thunderstorms, those are headed our way on Thursday, so flooding our main concern as we go into the weekend. Tanya?
Well, up next, COVID booster shots.
As more people continue to get the COVID-19 vaccine, questions are coming up about possible booster shots. I'm Chris Warner. We'll speak with a couple of local health professionals about what we know so far and what may be in our future.
And we check out some of the homes renovated through the Pittsburgh Land Bank. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. As more COVID-19 vaccines are administered, many are wondering now if a booster shot will be required, and if so, when that may be. KOAM's Chris Warner spoke with two local health professionals to get the latest.
As we get further into getting everyone who wants a vaccine vaccinated, the next question is determining whether or not you'll need a booster shot and just how often you'll need it. Mercy's infectious disease preventionist Donna Stokes says there are still some unanswered questions, but some things are certain.
We know that it's not going to give you a lifetime immunity. So somewhere along the way, whether it's in a year, whether it's in a few months, the booster is going to become necessary to help continue our immunity against the virus.
The flu virus changes from year to year, which is why it's recommended you get a flu shot every year. Stokes says COVID boosters will likely be handled the same way.
Seeing the new variants, what vaccine ingredients, if you will, will be effective against that new variant. So that's going to be ongoing and probably will be what influences the boosters in the future.
For health departments, Larry Bergner with the Newton County Health Department says they're already thinking about how to handle future booster clinics.
Yeah, that's exactly the way I see it, is that it'll be a very similar clinic as our flu vaccination clinics. And so we'll do on-site, we'll do off-site, we'll create after-hours clinics so that everyone will have an opportunity to come and get that vaccine. But it will be very similar to our flu vaccination clinics.
Stokes says there are still a number of variables and unanswered questions, but she's hopeful we'll have more information in the coming months. In Newton County, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Stokes says trials for booster shots are already underway. Well, despite popular belief, employers can ask for proof of vaccination from their employees. Over the last several weeks, retailers and businesses have been relaxing their mask requirements, saying that if customers have been fully vaccinated, they do not have to wear masks. But some people have claimed that if a business asks if you've been vaccinated, it would be a HIPAA violation. According to an expert at Access Family Care, that's not the case. Businesses can ask customers if they've been vaccinated, and customers can refuse to say. And it works about the same way for employees.
If their policy has been to wear a mask and then they're loosening that restriction up, they can ask for proof of immunization if the employee does not want to wear a mask.
That HIPAA applies to healthcare providers, insurance agencies, and health clearinghouses. Well, some neighborhoods in Bella Vista, Arkansas got some unexpected visitors. Buffalo. Well, technically bison. They were loose in the area of Glasgow Road in Bella Vista and were just wandering around. For safety's sake, local police asked folks to avoid the area. The owners and authorities made sure they got back safely to their home.
At least they stayed together.
Yeah.
Nobody made a run for it.
Everyone wants to go where the buffalo roam.
All school kids, I guarantee they love it. Moms and dads were probably like, all right, that's going to delay the old commute. Kids would have loved that.
I love that.
Wet intersection at 7th and Range Line. It's been light rain, but it's just kind of a nuisance on this Tuesday morning. 68 degrees is where we stand. Haven't picked up any wind gusts, just 5 to 10 miles per hour. Everything moving in from the southwest. Starting to break up a little bit on the portions of 44 in northeast Oklahoma, but we do have a little northerly push here, starting to pick up some yellow, indicating some heavier rain in between Joplin and Carthage and Jasper County, making its way up toward Barton County. Also to Cherokee County, pushing in to Jasper County. Take I-44, go down to the south. That's been consistent all Tuesday morning long, and now we're seeing a northerly spread up toward almost St. Clair County right there. Seeing our numbers increase up to about 1/4 of an inch on the far eastern counties of southwest Mo, and now right along I-49, getting there to about 1/10 of an inch. Now remember, this is a 48-hour recording, and so that's why around Chanute, where it got close to 2 inches yesterday, that's why that's still there. Just wanted to point out how this section remained dry yesterday, and we'll kind of have a mirror image of it on Tuesday morning compared to Monday morning. We'll see most of the rain through southwest Missouri. Flood warning for the Osage River lasting until Friday night. Temperatures ranging from mid-60s to even some 70s out there. Chanute, our lone 70 temperature. We did have about 4 or 5 earlier this morning. It's not too bad. Complaining about, late May weather. Jet stream, just extremely flat right now, and so you get under it. Pretty seasonable temperatures. More importantly, let's talk about our rain as it just kind of sticks around. Not anything heavy. You get a dry spot every now and then for the afternoon and evening. But speaking of evening, that's that band that we're watching coming out of central Kansas right there. Thunderstorm activity overnight into Wednesday morning. That's going to be the heaviest rain of the day for sure. And we're up into the 80s on Wednesday and Thursday. Additional thunderstorms headed our way Thursday into Friday. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is hard to believe that, number one, turning into June. Number two, that we're actually out and about doing live events again. And that's why Connect to Culture is such an important part of our four-state art and culture world. And we're kind enough to be joined by the director, Emily Frankowski. Emily, thank you so much for, number one, for joining us this morning. Number two, thanks for getting live entertainment back on the stage. And that's why I want to pick up with the beginning of June. Coming up on June the 5th, it's called Farewell Angelina. And when I first read this, my mind immediately goes to Joan Baez and Bob Dylan. Then I come to find out this is actually the name of an up-and-coming band.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that, we're all aware of that Farewell Angelina song. But this is a group of girls. They've kind of taken that name and made it their band name. They're all songwriters, they're multi-instrumentalists, they all have extremely amazing vocals, but they just met up in Nashville, sang together, and were just so impressed by their harmonies that they decided to form a band, and we're bringing them to Joplin on June 5th, which is a Saturday. Tickets are $15 in advance, then $20 at the door, so I would advise to get them now. And then also we're making it kid-friendly as well, so children 12 and under are going to be free with accompanying ticket holder.
Hey, coming up here in the middle of the month, beautiful Cox Springs, we've got something called Art by the Spring. What exactly does this entail?
This is such a fun event. I'm so glad to see that this is back on the calendar. April Davis, who is a local artist, she invites people to her home, which is at the beautiful Cox Springs. And it's going to be the whole weekend, Saturday, June 19th through Sunday, June 20th. And she invites local artists to come set up their booths so you can see, all different types of paintings and pottery. She also has local musicians. So I think she's going to have Jeremiah Jones play some music, as well as a local harpist as well. So it's just a very serene environment. You see the spring right there. You're immersed in nature, but you're also immersed in the arts, which, one and the same.
And also very important that it's free, open to everybody. And for those of you that have not visited Cox Springs, you're going to want to be there because it is absolutely beautiful. Sounds like this may be something for the kids here, because we all want to say, when we say C is for, we want to follow it up with Cookie. We all grew up on that one. But we've got Connie Miller putting on C is for Color at Post Art Library.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Connie Miller, she is a wonderful local artist and one of my really good friends. I own a piece of her artwork, or two, actually.
Oh, neat.
But yeah, she's going to have her artwork on exhibit at the Post Art Library. And this is going to be almost, throughout June and August. So you'll have plenty of time to see it. But she has really bold, colorful works, a lot of silhouettes, and just really fun artwork that she's going to have a bunch of color in, obviously, with that title. But it's for everyone. It's for kids as well as adults.
And Post Art Library, you can find that out on East 20th Street. Now, speaking of the kiddos, Waterworks Conservation in the Parks. And because specifically we're trying to targeting ages 7 through 12 in this one. And I think it's great that you guys have activities that kids can be engaged in when it comes to culture while school's not in session.
Oh, absolutely. We've got to keep those sponges soaking up all that information. Even when it's summertime, and this is a fun way to do it. So Wildcat Glades is inviting people to come out over to Landreth Park and just learn about water. Just learn about water quality, take a look, maybe even, pick up a few things of trash and things out of the waterway. But you'll really learn about the importance of water and clean water, and just in our area as well. So it's going to be a lot of learning to do and a lot of fun as well.
Emily, sometimes as adults, we like to thank Connect to Culture for everything that you do for us, but also as parents, I want to thank you from all us parents for making sure that our kids get their fair share of culture as well. Go ahead and let us know the website and where we can find additional information on these upcoming events.
Yeah, we make it really easy. So all you need to do is go to connecttoculture.org, and then you'll see in our first blog post, you'll see the month of June. And so you'll just click on it. You'll take a look through all the performances, events, classes, exhibits that you can take part in, so that you have a full list of so many things to do. You just pick them out and you go do them.
Emily Frankowski, she is the director of Connect to Culture. Emily, number one, congratulations on a great May. Number two, thanks for letting us know what's coming up in June. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
It's time to honor today's four-state hero. Pharmacist mate third class Robert Cable, a member of the United States Navy in 1945, 1946. He served in the Pacific Theater of World War II. His hometown, Joplin, Missouri. We are proud to salute Robert Cable, our four-state hero. Pittsburgh's Land Bank program has been around for a few years. The program allows the city to take abandoned property and clean it up for the city to use. Lately, the city has seen new interest in the program. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky tells us how one Pittsburgh resident recently discovered this housing revitalization program and decided to fix up a property falling apart to bring more people into the city.
He took a property that honestly was probably slated for demo. As the valuation of it kind of continued to diminish, he took that property and then he said he could save it, and he took the initiative, and he sure did save it.
City officials say they've already seen success having this program in place, and it's helped renew Pittsburgh.
If we can save it, it'll keep those materials from a landfill. It puts a new home in our system that, you know, for a new family to move to town, to be able to help revitalize our town. It has definitely allowed for middle-income families to be able to move to Pittsburgh or move into out of a rental into their first home.
Larry Seward, the latest owner of one of Pittsburgh's land banks, says when he first got a hold of the property, it was practically falling apart.
Oh my God, it was in bad shape. Had holes in the roof, holes in the wall, holes in the floor. It was in very, very bad shape, but the structure was sound, the foundation was sound.
He says through this program and his newly renovated land bank that he will rent, he hopes to bring more people into Pittsburgh.
I think housing in the whole will help. Better housing, better rental, bring people back into Pittsburgh more. When we bring people in for CDL that's out of town, the one thing that they complain about the most is the housing market. They ended up going to Carl Junction or some of that area because they can get better housing. I think what the city's doing with these new housing developments is critical.
In Pittsburgh, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
City of Pittsburgh also says many cities across the county use land banks to revitalize their towns. But as far as smaller towns across Kansas, they are one of the only one implementing this program. Well, another half hour of news and weather is just ahead. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, keeping your browsing habits a secret. A look at a new feature on Google that lets you password protect your search history. And our spotlight on Branson continues with the Mansion Theater of Performing Arts. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back.
And then I just got the...
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:32. Let's take a look at today's top stories, and we're going to start with breaking news this morning out of Cherokee County, Kansas. Authorities say 2 inmates escaped from the jail there overnight. Police are looking for Michael Martsolf and Mark Hopkins II. Martsolf was behind bars for a double homicide and Hopkins for drug-related crimes. Officials say they escaped from the Cherokee County Jail in Columbus around 11 p.m. Police say the suspects may be in this white Honda Accord. It does have a Missouri license plate, that plate number LG2XOF. Both are considered armed and dangerous. If you have any information on their location, authorities are asking you to call 911 or the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office. Again, that license plate number in this white Honda Accord, LG2XOF. In other news, a Fairland, Oklahoma woman is dead following a crash in Ottawa County. Authorities with the Oklahoma State Highway Patrol say it happened just before 6 yesterday evening on State Highway 125. They say a vehicle driven by 42-year-old Karen Roach crossed the center line and collided with 39-year-old Alicia Smalley. Roach was pronounced dead at the hospital. Roach's 2 juvenile passengers and Smalley, along with her 2 juvenile passengers, were last reported in fair condition. Vandals leave $500,000 in damage at the Monette, Missouri football field. Someone painted the field with bright orange spray paint. Crews tried to clean it up. They used different methods, including old-fashioned elbow grease, but no luck. And officials say the field will have to be replaced. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly and a bipartisan group of lawmakers come together to sign legislation fully funding education for the third consecutive year. The legislation also guarantees schools will be fully funded through the fiscal year 2023. During the signing ceremony, Governor Kelly said that ensuring kids have access to quality education is good for Kansas students and for the state's economy. In addition to fully funding education in Kansas, the legislation requires an annual report card for children in foster care, authorizes limited remote learning, and provides the criteria for identification of students eligible to receive at-risk programs and services. Carthage, Missouri residents could soon have a few more options to seek shelter in case of a tornado. The school district is considering opening 3 of the school's storm shelters up to the public during tornado warnings. Those shelters would be at Pleasant Valley Elementary School and the Carthage Intermediate Center. Goodwill type organizations across the country are asking donors to be more mindful of what they give. They say there's been more donations of junk and flammable and hazardous items. Workers say it's important to remember they do not repair items. When it comes to clothing, make sure items are only gently used. Well, if you're looking to save money on gas this Memorial Day weekend, you can do that by donating blood. The Community Blood Center of the Ozarks is giving away t-shirts and come-and-go gift cards worth between $5 and $100 to donors. The Great Gas Card Giveaway Blood Drive is taking place in Joplin, Springfield, and Bentonville, Arkansas. In Joplin, it'll happen at the North Park Mall from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. this Friday. Well, it was an active day of severe weather in western Kansas yesterday. Here are a few pictures from Selden, where officials confirmed a tornado did touch down. As you can see, there was damage to some structures. Thankfully, there are no reports of injuries in the area. Damage was extensive to homes, buildings, including the historic hotel in the town. Power lines, trees, and grain silos along Highway 83 that runs through the town. There are also train cars overturned and a reported gas leak.
Those storms stretch from western Kansas all the way into the panhandles there, and they're actually going to get more here later this evening. It's part of a system that's actually going to make its way toward us. We're not expecting anything of that nature by any means. It is a wet intersection at 7th and Rangeline. That's a live look over Joplin here at 7:37 on a Tuesday morning. 68 degrees is where we stand. This is what we were talking about, formulating out to the west. We'll keep our eyes for the morning and afternoon hours down to the south. As our rain beginning to taper off in northeast Oklahoma, still making its way through southwest Missouri though, and really has now done a good job moving north of I-44 through portions of Barton County as well along I-49 up by Lamar. Seeing the light blue throughout southwest Missouri indicating 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of accumulation. Of course, this is a 48-hour total. And so the rain that we see there in southeast Kansas, that dates back to yesterday where they had nearly 2 inches of rain. Because these totals will continue to pile up, flood warning in effect all the way for the Osage River until 7 o'clock tonight. Scattered rain and then thunderstorms after sunset leading us into Wednesday morning. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. Hi, an interesting question on the KOAM News Now Facebook page in our morning Instapoll, and a conversation I really hope you never have to have with your family and loved ones. Do you think you can survive in the woods for 2 weeks? This is coming off of a recent survey that was conducted where people thought that they could. Turns out that, they didn't even know what berries and plants to eat. Not that I'm an expert by any means. I couldn't make it more than a week. 51% of you say less than a week. 17% say 2 weeks, and I love this. I need to hang out with these people at the bottom here. 17% say several years. Make your voice heard by going to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Now, time to resume our spotlight on Branson.
Well, you can't have Spotlight on Branson without spotlights, and I am joined by Larry Wilhite in one of the most beautiful theaters in the city. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning, and thank you for that.
Absolutely. Well, this is a building that previously was known as the Mansion, and even though you're keeping that in the title, I understand you've changed the name slightly. So
Yes.
Let's start right there.
Yes, we have. We are changing the name. The Mansion theater for the performing arts. So we have a little different direction in where we're going from where we have been. We're wanting to use the theater more for its full capacity and capability. We've done several shows in the past of just concert shows, comedic shows, different entertainers. We've even had production shows in, but we are blessed and honored to be a part of the Disney family and allowed to bring Disney productions to our stage.
Oh, that's fantastic. So when you talk about performing arts, when you talk about some of those things, it's really about expanding the culture, correct?
Correct. Yes, we are looking to expand more, be more diversified in what we bring to the area. Now, we are still keeping our roots as far as some of the things that we brought, the legendary Oak Ridge Boys, Johnny Mathis with the symphony, and different entertainers in that realm, but we're pushing the envelope a little bit and bringing in more of the Broadway, obviously Disney, and some more things that we'll be announcing not too late or not too far in the future. So they need to keep on the website and keep looking, because we have a lot of new announcements coming, some Broadway productions and different things that we'll be putting on our stage.
And as you mentioned earlier, there's some things in this facility that you can't find other places in Branson. So tell me, when somebody comes here, for those who haven't been here before, what can somebody expect?
Well, first of all, we seat 3,000. So you can have all the room you want, or you can sit right next to somebody. But our stage is very massive in the ability to do a big production. The sound and lights, we think, is some of the best in the area, and so we try to put our best foot forward to honor our guests and the productions on the stage.
Awesome. Well, Larry, thank you so much. Make sure you check out their website, and that address again is?
Our website is themansiontheater.com.
So you can see everything that they have, and make sure you check out the Mansion of the Performing Arts when you're in Branson.
Minority farmers are getting a big boost. The Department of Agriculture will start loan forgiveness payments to thousands of minority farmers in June. Roughly $4 billion is part of the president's coronavirus relief plan, specifically aimed at Black, Hispanic, and Native American farmers to help combat systemic racism. USDA will roll out payments for roughly 13,000 loans. Then it'll distribute loan relief for another 3,000 loans made by banks and guaranteed by the USDA. Good weather, vaccinations, it's time you went on a vacation. Priceline.com released its top search destinations for Memorial Day weekend. The most searched city was Chicago. Second place was Las Vegas, and rounding out the top 5, Atlanta, Los Angeles, and Orlando. With many rental car companies experiencing shortages, it's best to book your getaway as soon as possible. Well, United Airlines is the latest company to offer vaccine incentives. The airline says vaccinated customers have the chance to win a year's worth of travel. From now through June 22nd, any member of United Mileage Plus loyalty program can upload proof of vaccination on the company's website or app. 30 people will win round-trip flights for 2 anywhere in the world. 5 lucky people can win the grand prize of free travel for an entire year. That's awesome. Google now lets you protect your search history. The big tech company just added a new feature where you can password protect your activity by going to activity.google.com, then heading to Manage My Activity Verification. You can choose Require Extra Verification to force users to put in their username and password to get access to your activity. When you're on the page, you can also take a look at what Google is saving and what it is automatically deleting. We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. March 4th. We have some breaking news this morning out of Cherokee County, Kansas. Authorities there say 2 inmates escaped from jail overnight, and police are looking for Michael Martsolf and Mark Hopkins II. Martsolf was behind bars for a double homicide and Hopkins for drug-related crimes. Officials say they escaped from the Cherokee County Jail in Columbus around 11 p.m. last night. Police say the suspects may be in a white Honda Accord with a Missouri license plate, and that plate number LG2X Both are considered armed and dangerous. If you have any information on their location, authorities are asking you to call 911 or the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office. Again, that license plate number, LG2XOF. And we'll be following this story and have the latest today at noon. Let's check in with Michael with a final look at your forecast.
And here's a final look at the Skywatch storm tracker with the rain that's now moving through portions of southeast Kansas. Really from about the Oklahoma-Kansas state line up toward Fort Scott, very, very light. More so throughout southwest Missouri where we've seen it all morning long. Though on the lightning tracker, and we've been lucky. Haven't had to put up with any of that. As a matter of fact, it's been hours since we've had a lightning strike around here. So just try to stay dry. It's going to be mostly cloudy today. Temperatures aren't of any concern. And really, we'll just sit back and wait for the thunderstorm development overnight out to our west and central Kansas. It'll roll through from Tuesday night all the way into Wednesday morning.
All right. A lot of excitement going on with the breaking news.
We're not going to do the Harry Truman. I mean, I thought we'd do the Harry Truman story.
Apparently not.
I know, but he's from Lamar.
They dropped it.
I know. Anyway, there's a new Harry Truman statue that's going up. It's a cool story. And by the way, he's from Lamar, Missouri.
Mm-hmm. And the statue would be going up in Independence, Missouri.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you for letting us put the good in your morning.
Be back with more news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.